Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Chaos at KFC locations. Car crashed in A&E department at Black River Hospital. And later in sports minister says Sabina Park investment shows commitment to sports. Now the details. We begin with news of pandemonium at some KFC locations. Customers swarmed the restaurants as they tried to capitalize on deals as part of the company's 50th anniversary. Kelisha Williams reports.
It's not lunchtime, but scores of Jamaicans skipped breakfast to secure what KFC advertised as burrata in celebration of the company's 50th anniversary. People have been camping out at various locations hours before the scheduled opening, hoping to get in. From downtown Kingston to the Washington Boulevard and in Manor Park, long lines were the order of the day at the various locations. In Manor Park, we witnessed the security struggling to keep the order as she tried to let persons in. Because of the absence of a number of systems, chaos reigned as people tried to skip the lines to get in. This customer explained her strategy.
I'm a smart KFC shopper, so what I did was I have some family members that love to wake up early, so they came while I slept, and right now my order is in there and I'm just waiting. They're at number 3.
Why was it important for you to come and get chicken?
Because Uncle Colonel has been so good to us for 50 years. Oh my God, couldn't miss it.
Another customer was relieved when he got his order.
It was crazy. I was here from 6 o'clock, but I finally got my food. I was here from 6 o'clock, but I got my food.
What's it like inside?
It's crazy. It was like an ant's nest. The people them want them chicken, but you know what they put in the chicken? No.
So what prompted you to come out so early now to get this chicken?
Because of the national dish, and I can't solve it. KFC had national dish.
And was it rough inside?
It wasn't rough for me because I was first, but everybody after me, it was a royal rumble.
And you were here from what time?
About 6:10.
6:10?
Yeah.
When you came here, was there a crowd when you came here?
It was only me. So seeing the crowd now, wow, people are coming out of the ground like ants.
But the burrata deal may not be available all day. The company was quick to stress that it is while stocks last. Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
An investigation is underway following a startling incident at Black River Hospital early Wednesday morning. At approximately 1 a.m., the driver of a blue Subaru who was transporting a patient to the hospital crashed into the accident and emergency department. The vehicle struck the front door of the A&E building and also damaged the nearby administration office. The circumstances surrounding the incident remain unclear.
The gentleman took a patient here to be seen, and she's not sure if the brake failed or what, but the car ended up in the department. We subsequently called the police, we called the fire department, and they came and assisted us in getting the vehicle out of the department. We're happy to report, however, that nobody was injured and the patient was eventually taken out of the vehicle for treatment.
Hospital staff and officials remain visibly shaken in the aftermath of the crash.
The distance between the entrance and the port cashier is just about 30 feet. So I would not expect that somebody could have been exceeding speed to the extent that they couldn't stop right in the A&E and ended up inside the waiting area. And to make things worse, the person proceeded to start the car and now ended up in the accident and emergency passageway.
Member of Parliament for Central St. Mary, Dr. Maurice Guy, has declared that the country's health sector is at a crossroad as it grapples with a deepening crisis. Dr. Guy was making his contribution to the sectoral debates on Tuesday, where he sharply criticized the government's handling of the health system. According to Dr. Maurice Guy, the country's health sector is in deep crisis. Dr. Guy says hospitals and clinics across the nation are grappling with severe challenges. This include repeated equipment failures, ongoing industrial actions, chronic overcrowding, deteriorating infrastructure, and dire shortage of essential resources.
Surgeries are aborted because of the absence of even theatre linen. And we only could look at what happened in Notre Bay the other day in a TVJ expose in June 3, 2025, because of the absence of functioning theatres, because theatres have become mold infested and out of commission. At least in 2015, patients were getting the much needed surgery with the aprons from plastic bag. One cannot say the same for today.
He says these long-standing issues have been compounded by a recent scandal involving the procurement of a $31 million medical drill. This has sparked public outrage and raised serious concerns about the governance and transparency within the Ministry of Health.
The matter is before the court, so we're not going to go into specific details here. Suffice it to say, $31 million is money that could have been used to purchase a drill and life-saving medications, repair broken equipment, or hire much-needed staff. We must question the value for money proposition and assert only that accountability is needed in the system.
Dr. Guy says the previous government made far greater strides in improving healthcare delivery and will do so again if re-elected. Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has rejected the notion that the sector was better managed under the PNP.
I have enjoyed the discussion, the discourse between us. He has demonstrated very consistently a statesman-like approach. Not that he has agreed with everything I say, and most time he does not, but he has been a gentleman in terms of his approach, and I think that he has made the Parliament and the debate in the Parliament very civil. Certainly the discussion between he and I don't want to commend him and recognize him for that, Mr. Speaker.
Meanwhile, Dr. Guy strongly condemned the recent attack on a nurse at the University Hospital of the West Indies. He described the incident as unacceptable.
Our doctors, our nurses, and the entire support staff are the backbone of our health system. They work tirelessly, even under impossible conditions, to care for our people. Any attack on them is an attack on all of us and the very fabric of our society. And we therefore call on the government to take immediate steps to ensure the safety and security of all healthcare workers. This must include increased security measures, better support system, and a zero-tolerance approach to violence in our hospitals and clinics.
Dr. Guy says the health sector needs urgent attention.
The People's National Party is committed to a new vision for healthcare, one that puts people, not buildings, first. We'll pivot away from photo ops for medical projects and ribbon-cutting ceremonies and focus on enhancing service delivery across all clinics and hospitals island-wide. Every operating theatre from KPH to Cornwall Regional will be made fully functional. No more years-long wait for surgery. We will move from ribbon cutting to cutting hernias and saving lives.
The government's crackdown on gang violence and community decay is set to continue. This after the House of Representatives approved a 6-month extension of all 7 zones of special operations across the island. Details in this report.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has secured another extension of the Zone of Special Operations ZOZO as the government continues efforts to curb violent crime in targeted communities. Dr. Chang made the case during Tuesday's sitting of Parliament, stressing that the ZOZOs are not just about security, but also community rebuilding and long-term transformation. He said while progress has been made in restoring order, more time is needed to solidify gains and deliver meaningful development.
The zones of special operations have offered the greatest benefit to our most challenged communities. The value of this intervention in the clear space has been tried, tested, and proven successful as they complement the operational efforts of the security forces. It's been 8 years since the first ZOZO was declared. There can be no denying that these measures have been impactful and are yielding dividends. The people living within these zones are now having a sense of hope for the future and the future of the community.
The extension means heightened security presence and social intervention programs will continue in the designated areas. Dr. Chang reiterated that the government remains committed to a balanced approach combining firm policing with investment in education, employment, and infrastructure. He says, given the success achieved by the police in curtailing crime across the island, there will be adjustments to the ZOZOs and the inclusion of other communities.
We will not only seek the extension, but we will be looking at scaling this activity up very soon as we continue into the new financial year to cover additional communities where we may do hold and build as the principal activity, since the police is now clearly on top of the criminal gangs that used to torture our society.
Now, several communities under the ZOZO initiative have seen reductions in major crimes since its implementation. The National Security Minister says the extension is key to maintaining that momentum. The ZOZOs, which were due to expire next Monday, are in effect in Mount Salem, Denham Town, Augustown, Greenwich Town, Norwood, Parade Gardens, and Savannah Lamar. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Reggae singer Leroy Gibbons has died. The artist reportedly collapsed on Tuesday in Hanover. The 74-year-old was last seen performing on Father's Day in Hanover. His death has sent shockwaves across the country. Mr. Gibbons will be missed.
I parted ways with him in the morning, went around back to do some work, and 5 minutes later, young general round me, Earn, said, "Sam, beg your hand, Gibbons fall down." So I rushed to his aid, and when I picked him up, I realized his hat came off and his hat was full of blood.
Minister of Culture Olivia Babs-Grange paid tribute to Mr. Gibbons on her Facebook page. She said his contribution to the local music industry has left a lasting impact on fans worldwide. It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Kintar Holdings has recorded a major turnaround in its financial performance, posting a profit of $71.9 million for the year ended December 31, 2024, compared to a net loss of $153.9 million in 2023. The group saw a 35% jump in revenue, earning $216.8 million, up from $160.3 million the previous year. Gross profit more than doubled to $193.6 million, driven by significantly lower direct costs. Administrative and general expenses also fell sharply from $220.6 million to $83.7 million, suggesting aggressive cost-cutting and restructuring. Earnings per share improved to 7 cents, up from a loss of 16 cents per share last year. The company's return to profitability signals growing operational efficiency and financial discipline heading into its 2025 fiscal year. The Federal Reserve is expected to keep interest rates unchanged on Wednesday, this as its policymakers assess signs of a cooling economy and the risk of higher inflation from U.S. import tariffs and the escalating crisis in the Middle East. For the Business Minute, I'm O'Shane Masters.
Now a preview of what's coming up in this evening's Health Report. In the next edition of the Health Report, we look at traumatic brain injury.
The long-term support is largely familial, the family unit, but there are centers such as the Mona Rehabilitation Center that have facilitated those with more peripheral injuries to the limbs, or they may have some amount of paralysis, they can't walk properly. They have been able to assist with some of those patients, especially relates to mobility. In terms of the cognitive function, the lack of brain function or impaired brain function, unfortunately, there's not a lot of rehabilitation that's possible worldwide in that regard. There's a lot of research going on in terms of that.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's healthy living tip. To reduce the risk of brain injury, always wear a seatbelt in a motor vehicle. Don't drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Wear a helmet while riding a bicycle, skateboard, or all-terrain vehicle. And don't drive, walk, or cross the street while using your smart device. Time now for top regional and international stories.
In the region, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis says it has not received any official notice from the United States regarding a reported travel ban. International media had listed the federation among 36 countries possibly facing U.S. visa restrictions, but officials in the country say no communication has been received from the U.S. authorities and they are investigating the credibility of the report. The government says protecting citizens' mobility is a priority and urges the public to rely on official sources for updates. Further afield, governments across North Carolina will receive about $145 million from Purdue Pharma and its former owners as part of a nationwide opioid settlement. Attorney General Jeff Jackson says the money is part of $1.6 billion heading to the state over the next 3 years, mostly for local addiction treatment and prevention efforts. Purdue makeup OxyContin falsely marketed the drug as less addictive, helping to trigger the nation's opioid crisis. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Kelisha Williams.
Thank you, Kelisha. It's time for a break. Stay with us. What's next?